Then you have the college football weekend, and the committee puts Michigan, Washington, Texas, Alabama in. Florida State and Georgia are out. Let's go back to Friday. Watching the Pac-12 title game. Washington looks wonderful. Oregon's coming back. Then Washington answers with a couple of late drives, and they stay undefeated. That might be the best conference this year, Pac-12. There's at least an argument with how good the Pac-12 was this year. So Washington's going to be in no matter what. They beat Oregon twice. They're going to be in. There's your undefeated team. Texas, Saturday afternoon, standalone game. You're favored by at least 2 touchdowns against Oklahoma State. You need to put up some big numbers, and they did. They looked unbelievable. And as a source said to me, they might be the fastest team in America. Like, that's an exciting, dynamic team, and so they're in. And then you had Alabama and Georgia. Standalone game, and you're watching and figuring whoever wins is going to be in. And I kept thinking, is Georgia not going to be in the playoffs? Georgia's been number one almost the entire season. They had won 29 games, back-to-back champs, and they lose on a neutral site by 3 with 2 of their best receivers banged up in that game, McConkey and Bowers. And they're not going to be in the playoffs. And then you have Florida State, standalone game, third-string quarterback, and it's less than enthusiastic 16-6 win against Louisville. And I could see it, you had Florida State trying to generate some offense. Because if you put up some style points, let's say you put up 24, 28 points, you might be in the playoffs. Because it comes back to what I've said to you many, many times the last couple of years. This is a TV show. They don't want to blow out like they had last year with TCU. Right? You got to get style points. Texas got style points. Right in front of us. We saw it like, wow, they are. And they beat Alabama earlier this year. Florida State, you have a legitimate beef. But you're not one of the top 4 teams in America. Right now, if Vegas gave you odds, Florida State would be an underdog to everybody. They'd be an underdog probably to Ohio State. They'd be an underdog to a few teams that didn't even make it into the playoffs. You don't have your quarterback. He's a wonderful quarterback. If you had somebody like Jameis Winston, then there'd be a must-see. I mean, it's sort of like you tune in to watch Friends and Jennifer Aniston isn't there. You're like, okay, it's not the same. I got Ross. I don't have Rachel. Well, Florida State doesn't have their quarterback. Alabama is a draw. Nick Saban, commercials, success, him in the playoffs. Harbaugh, I don't think Michigan's a great team. I mean, they beat an overrated Penn State team. They, held on to beat Ohio State. If you look at the teams they play in the Big Ten, those teams are terrible. They're terrible. Now, they did win. I don't know how good Michigan is. It wasn't pretty against Iowa. I mean, you did win. Iowa's not good. Good defense. Maybe a good punter. But that's about it. So you're trying to handicap this, and then, who gets in, and then the seeding. And it's me, conspiracy theory, but Michigan's number 1, and I think that maybe the committee goes, yeah, Michigan got in, had the little sign stealing thing. How about we put Alabama there at number 4? Just a conspiracy theory on my part. No inside information on that. But the committee wants to put together a great weekend, a great matchup with both of these games. And that's what you have. Michigan and Alabama is wonderful. Texas and Washington, offensive firepower, that's spectacular. Like, it'll be fun. Florida State would not have been a draw. They're not interesting. Really good defensive front. Played great against Louisville. By the way, Louisville, come on. What are you doing? You want to step up? Step up. You had your opportunity there. But Florida State, outside looking in, and now it's Florida State against Georgia. Georgia would be favored against everybody. Probably. I mean, Georgia has a legitimate beef, but you got to take somebody out. This is like when we always go, March Madness. Well, that team should be in. Who are you taking out? Oh, I don't know. But that team should be in. Georgia. Okay, who are you taking out? Texas? I can't do that to Texas. I mean, it was just the bad timing award goes to Alabama or goes to Georgia. And then here's Florida State. You're not getting respect because you're in the ACC. You've been trying to get out of the ACC. I mean, this is, now I know next year it'll be different because then you'd be in the playoffs. And then the debate, the controversy is going to be about seeding. Who's going to get a first round bye, home field advantage? I mean, that's really what the big issue is going to be. But it does change next year when we have 12 teams.